On the second Tuesday of every month, also known as Patch Tuesday, Microsoft releases updates for Windows. The last Patch Tuesday for Windows 10 is going to be in October 14, 2025, after which you will receive no additional security updates. So I can't recommend using Windows 10 more than a few months after support ends. So if you plan on buying a Windows 11 machine sometime during the December holidays, I wouldn't be too concerned. However, starting in 2026 and beyond, I can't recommend using Windows 10. Thankfully, you have a free upgrade from Windows 10 to 11, so I'll show you the process of doing that. Before you can install Windows 11, you have to make sure your computer has the minimum requirements. So all you have to do is go to microsoft.com/en-us/windows/windows-11. Then you're going to go to the bottom of the page, and there should be a little blue box near the bottom of the page that says Download PC Health Check app. You're going to press on that, and then you're going to download it, after which then you're going to run it. And then you're going to go install it. You're going to accept the terms. You're going to install, let it do its installation. And then when it's done, you're going to open it up. At this point, you'll just hit check now. And as you can see, this particular machine supports Windows 11 requirements. There might be instances where your CPU is supported, but the TPM is disabled. And in that case, what you have to do is you have to open up a new tab in your browser, and you have to look up enable TPM, and you should get this result from support.microsoft.com. Enable TPM 2.0 on your PC. Scroll down a little bit, and now you'll see a little section called how to enable TPM, and then you have the different manufacturers for more specific instructions on how to enable TPM on your machine. When it comes to installing Windows 11, you'll have two different options. You could do a straight upgrade, which will allow you to keep all your files and software, or you can do a clean install, which means you'll lose all your information, but you'll be able to start fresh. Regardless of what option you take, make sure to back up your data first. There's two different ways of getting Windows 11. You can either do a straight upgrade, or you can do a fresh install. I'll show how to do the upgrade first. In the event that your computer doesn't support all the minimum requirements, you can bypass those requirements. Just do a search for bypassing Windows 11 requirements, and there's going to be plenty of guides on the internet to follow. It's not something I would normally suggest, only because even if you happen to get it working on the first go, that doesn't mean that in the future, if there's an update at some point, it can break compatibility. So it's not something I would recommend, but it is something you can do. So once your computer meets the requirements, or you're already bypassed to get to the actual update itself, all you have to do is go to your start menu and search update. You're going to check for updates, and you should see this option here to download and install. Something to keep in mind, this upgrade is going to take a while. Expect 1 to 2 hours, so don't plan on using this computer for the rest of the day. Possibly in the event that you're having errors or issues, you might have to go back to Windows 10, which will take another hour or two, so you can end up easily taking several hours before you can use this computer, worst case scenario. So before you actually do the install, just make sure to back up your data just in case, and all you have to do is download and install. You accept and install, and it's going to do the download here, and this is going to behave very similar to a regular update. So if there's any prompts, you'll follow those prompts. Your computer is going to go through some restarts, and depending on your speed of your internet and how fast your computer is itself, like I said, expect 1 to 2 hours. If you have slow internet, it's going to drag it out even further. If you're on the Windows update page and you don't see the option to upgrade to Windows 11 and you just see the check for updates, what you can do is go into a web browser, and you'll just go to microsoft.com/en-us/software-download/Windows 11. Under Windows 11 Installation Assistant, you will press the Download Now option. It's going to download a file here. You will run that, hit yes, and then you'll see this option, Install Windows 11. You will accept and install, and it's going to operate similarly to the other upgrade method. So you'll just follow any prompts that show up, and you should get the Windows 11 eventually. If you want to do a clean install, you'll have to go to microsoft.com/en-us/software-download/Windows 11. Once you load into the page, you're going to scroll down a little bit and go to Create Windows 11 Media. You're going to download that, and then open the Media Creation tool. You're going to hit yes, and then you're going to wait for a little bit until it loads. Then you're going to accept the terms, and then it's going to load again. and then you're going to have this option here, use recommended options. You're going to hit next, and now you have two different options. If your computer meets all the minimum requirements for Windows 11, you will use the first option. However, if your computer doesn't meet the processor or the TPM requirements, it is still possible to install Windows 11. You, however, will have to do some bypass checks, and there is no guarantee that you won't encounter any issues. So I will not necessarily recommend, but it is possible, and if you need to, you will have to use the second option. Since the computer meets the minimum requirements, we will use option 1. And now you're going to select the flash drive that's going to save to. Make sure you have a flash drive that's at least 8 GB or bigger. Please keep in mind that it will delete any data that's currently on there. So if you have any data you want to keep, remove it from the drive and keep it elsewhere. At this point, you'll just hit next once you select the correct drive. And depending on how fast your internet is, the download itself is about 4 GB big. So expect this to take at least half an hour or longer. Now this USB drive is ready to go, so you can click finish and we can now install Windows 11. This next part only applies to the people who do not meet the minimum requirements for Windows 11 and who are trying to do a clean install. If this applies to you, instead of using the USB flash drive option, you're going to do the ISO file. Once you select ISO file, just hit next and you're going to select where it's going to download to. By default, it's going to put you into the documents folder. You can change the folder if you want. I'm just going to keep it on the default. And it's going to take a while to download depending on how fast your internet speed is. It could be 15 to 30 minutes, even longer depending on how slow it is. Once that's done, you'll just hit finish. That will appear once the progress hits 100. Once the ISO finishes downloading, you'll go to the following website. You go to rufus.ie and then you'll just scroll down a little bit. And you'll see this Rufus 4.6p. It doesn't matter what version it is, just make sure it ends in P because that's the portable version. You're going to download it, and then you're going to run it. And then you're going to find the ISO that you downloaded for Windows. By default, it goes into the documents, but if you change the folder, then select it there. And now that you have it selected, make sure you select the correct flash drive that you're going to install this into. You're going to need at least 8 GB. Keep in mind that this will destroy any data currently on the flash drive, so take any data that you want to keep and put it somewhere else. And you can see that it automatically selects all the different options. Once you hit start, it's going to give you additional options, so you can actually remove the requirement for the RAM and the secure boot and the TPM. I don't think this gives you the option to do CPU, so keep that in mind. And then you can also remove the requirement for the online Microsoft account here as well. And then at this point, you will continue, hit yes, and then it'll give you the warning that it's going to delete the data. So I'm aware of that, and I will hit OK. This may take a while, depending on how fast the flash drive is. Expect this to take about 15 to 30 minutes. Once the Windows 11 USB installer has been created, keep it plugged into the computer. And before we actually start the process, make sure to back up any of your current data from your original drive. Either back it up to an external drive or some sort of cloud service. Once that's done, open up the Start menu, go to Power, press and hold down Shift, and while you're holding down Shift, press Restart. And now it's going to load. You will eventually load into the screen. Select Use a Device, and it's going to appear as either a removable device or a USB device. So select that and then press any key when you see this prompt. This menu will eventually load up. If you're using a laptop and you're unable to use the keyboard or the trackpad, just connect a USB mouse or keyboard and you should be able to complete this setup. Now you'll make any changes to whatever settings here. I will keep these on default since these apply to me. I'm going to hit next. Keyboard is going to be kept to US. And then we're going to select Install Windows 11 and I agree to everything being deleted. Hit next again. For anyone that has a computer from a major OEM such as Dell, HP, Lenovo, and others, this menu most likely will not show up. For those that this menu does show up, just look around on your computer, either on the bottom if it's a laptop or on the back or side panels if it's a desktop. You should see a COA. It's going to say Windows on it and it'll give you a 25-digit code. separate into 5 little sections of 5 digits, and then you will enter that in here. Also skip entering in the product key. All you have to select is I don't have a product key. Wait until this loads, and now you have the different versions of Windows you can install. Most users will either use Home or Pro. I have a Pro key, so I will enter it at a later time. I will select the Pro option and hit Next. And then you're going to have the license terms. I will accept. And now you have all the different drives that are on your computer. If this list is empty for you, that means you're missing a driver. Typically it's going to be an Intel Rapid Storage driver or some sort of RAID driver. So you'll have to go into the manufacturer's page for your computer or your motherboard and download that. You can download that directly to the thumb drive, and if you do that, you can just access it from here. Obviously select the correct place that you saved it, and then you should be able to load it at that point. Now when I delete these partitions, any data on here is going to be lost. It can be technically recovered, but it is going to be a time-consuming process. So the plan here is I'm going to be installing Windows on disk 0, and my suggestion normally is to delete all the partitions, therefore allowing Windows to properly recreate them and make them the correct size. As you can see, as I'm deleting the different partitions, it's becoming unallocated space, and once you get enough pieces together, it's going to combine them, and the goal here is to make one disk that's completely unallocated. At this point, you will select that and hit Next. This is the final menu of the installation. I will press Install, and this particular process will take about 15 to 30 minutes depending on how quick your computer is. Once the installation is done, you'll be greeted by the setup page. At that point, you will be doing the customization of your Windows. That will also include logging into your Microsoft account. If you don't have a Microsoft account, you'll have the option to create an account at that point. But that concludes the actual installation.